Let's talk about Haunting Adeline and its sequel, Hunting Adeline. So I know this book is relatively famous here on TikTok, but I don't think a lot of us know what it's really about and if it's really a good book or not. Because I just read it recently and I'd been putting off reading this book. I really didn't intend to even read it at all, to be completely honest with you. But I just got really curious because I either saw people really, really loving it or people really, really hating it. And the hate was mainly towards a specific scene that I think we all have heard about and nothing else. Like no other arguments. I didn't know what the book was about. I just knew that it's a dark romance and a stalker romance. That's all I knew. So we follow Adeline, and she just moved into her old grandparents' house, like a really old haunted house in the middle of nowhere. And she's basically an author. She has just published a few books, and her stalker finds her during one of her book signings and becomes obsessed with her. It's like falls in love with her immediately. And he starts showing up at this house, and obviously it's creepy. The house is creepy. It's in the middle of nowhere. He's hiding in the forest, and she starts getting really scared. And he's leaving like flowers everywhere, roses everywhere, and following her everywhere. And he's like watching her sleep, like the typical stalker things. He works for an organization, Z, that he funded, and they basically hunt down human trafficking rings and tear them down. I think he's basically like saving all of these people, but then he decided to like stalk her, which is very contradicting. It is very contradicting. If you see the trigger warnings and there's anything there that might trigger you, please believe them, okay? Believe the trigger warnings. Keep in mind the trigger warnings. They are all very real. There are very like sticky situations in this book, but then like, you know, they start to develop their relationship, so it becomes less sticky as time goes on, okay? At least in the first book anyways. We also have another side to this book where Adeline is investigating the murder of her great-grandmother. So the second book kind of picks up where the first one left off. And I will say that this one is pretty dark. This book is very, very dark. Keep every single one of the trigger warnings in mind because they're going to be present. And it's heavy. It's heavy. We see one of the characters go through a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff, really, really dark, ugly things. But I think she did it in a very respectful, mindful way, if that makes sense. We also see like this character also go through their trauma and having to come out of that trauma and the PTSD of everything they went through. So there's a lot of that element of gaining back control and becoming strong and becoming more confident in themselves. It has that element that I really like, which is the psychological element where we see people go through their trauma and go through their anxieties and their just their experience of trauma and getting back from it and PTSD, all of it. I really find that very interesting in books. Not very surprisingly if you know me in real life, but comments that we get about these books regarding the smut, yes, it is pretty heavy on the smut and it is dark. It is dark, okay? Like even the smutty parts are dark. The first book, there's a lot of consent questions. That being said, like it is very much a dark romance even in the smutty parts, so keep that in mind. I honestly enjoyed it a lot. I think it's very well written. I think it was surprising for me. Like I expected it to be like just